All right, so let's start off with. I want to start off with giving a quote from like one of my favorite collectors, and I would start off with, "Hello, my favorite collectors. I'm back." And how did you come up with that, man?
Well, actually, technically, it was what's going on, my
That's right.
fellow. It was what's
That's right.
going on,
That's right.
and I think what's going on is just what's going on. What's up? You know what I mean? And and that's how you kind of broadcast and to the people, to the collectors out there. What's going on, everybody. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I'm back, or it just seemed natural to do it that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
As far as in trying to be myself, and just doing my own thing compared to the other guys that I used to watch before I even thought about doing YouTube. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know,
I thought it was pretty dope, and it was very inviting and everything. So, like after we kind of got to know each other and kind of talked and stuff, and realized that you were like from Philly, and like
yeah,
that's the city of brotherly love. And I'm like that fits because that's what you brought to the collecting community.
yeah,
No matter where you came in on it, because like when I first kind of got to be a part of it, there were people that had been there and it was already established, and I would just kind of sit in the background and watch it with my daughter, and got little tips and just kind of watching from afar. And
yeah,
you were so inviting, and I saw how you did that for a lot of people. Like it was very cool to see somebody like you that looked like me for one, and then to be that cool about it, and it made it exciting to see your reviews and your take on stuff. Because even though I had some of the figures that you had at times, it was still dope to see your take on it, your
yeah,
perspective and how you felt
yeah,
about it. But I thought it was really cool that, what you did to the community and stuff like that. And I thought it was just dope because it meant a lot to me to see somebody that looked like me, because I always collected, but you usually don't see folks that look like you doing it. It's like your little secret that you do behind the scenes. And if anybody just kind of came by and saw your cabinet, they'd be like, so what's up with this?
yeah,
But
yeah, man.
I want to get back on you, and I don't want to quit talking so much. But I just wanted to share that with you. But so how long you been collecting, man?
I mean, to be honest with you, Jay, it's really been for years, probably since like I think what made me really start being an adult collector. I think it all started with like I used to collect them little what do you call them, little Marvel it was the Marvel Toy Biz
Mm-hmm.
figures.
Oh, I had those, yeah.
And it wasn't the Legends, it was something else before Marvel Legends, you know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think those was when I became like adult collector, and started trying to get them, going to KB Toy Store,
Mm-hmm. I
asking
remember
them
that.
like, when is your stock day? When y'all stock the shelf? They would say like, oh, come back on Thursdays, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, bet, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna come back on Thursdays or whatever. So I would come back on certain days,
Mm-hmm.
try to get that one exclusive figure that you knew was only one, that variant. You
Right.
always would be like one variant, you know what I
Right.
mean?
Right. Right. Right.
And I would try to come back and get that variant. And sometimes you got lucky, sometimes you didn't, you know what I mean? So, and then what really, I think I started doing that, and then I kind of lost interest in those because that's when Todd McFarlane came out with his line of figures.
Right. Right. Change
And
that.
that was it's giving me the chills because the detail was like so like statue detail, but it was in
Right.
the figure form.
Right. Right.
And that's what always brought me into collecting, was I like detailed figures, you know what I mean? So,
Mm-hmm.
and by me collecting the Spawn figures, I left the Toy Biz figures, the Toy Biz X-Men figures alone, and I started collecting Spawn.
Okay.
And once I started collecting Spawn, it was like all she wrote. Like I had a display cabinet, and I was still living at home with mom at the time. I think I was in my like 20 something, 20, 23, 24, something like that. But
Yeah.
I was paying mom's rent and everything, and excuse me, and then and I started collecting this Todd McFarlane figures, and then from there, that's it started from there, basically.
So
you
so
know.
So did you collect when you were a kid? Did you like collect like the He-Man figures and all that kind of
Oh
stuff?
yeah, I
G.I.
always,
Joe and all that?
yeah, I had Joes, you know what I mean, but I wasn't, collecting for like, oh, keeping these in the packaging and,
That's
you
true.
know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
I always liked the figures. That was always me. He-Man, G.I. Joe,
Right,
you
right,
know what I
right.
mean? Micronauts, Star Wars,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
all them type of, I love the figures. I mean, I think the reason why I like figures is because it was, you know, as we was coming up as a kid, you liked your favorite shows and stuff like that, and to be able to have that character in like a three-dimensional form from that
Yeah.
favorite show that you like,
Right,
you know what I
right.
mean? It just expands your imagination to another level in a real life type of format, basically, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
So
like it's like the journey continues.
exactly,
Yeah.
man. Because especially with the GI Joe figures, man, I was one of them kids, man, where the journey really did continue, like outdoors. I would go to the woods or
Yeah, yeah.
to the park. You
Right.
know what I mean? And like I would actually try to like I would mess around. Like I remember I had this where I used to live at. They had this one apartment building, and it was like the I guess the piping for like the water,
Hmm.
So I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a great place to play the Joes, big pipes and all that. I'm
Right.
gonna set my Joes up over here, and it was amazing places I would find to play
That's
up my
dope.
Joe, taking them out to the creek.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I had the little boats and stuff. I think Joe's was really took it to the next level. GI Joe figures, like,
That's true.
I had the He-Mans and stuff like that, and remember set tours. I don't know if you remember
Yeah, I
those.
do. I
I had this.
got mine.
Oh,
Yeah.
they took it to another level after He-Man, but
Yeah.
but then Joe's hit the scene, and I think Joe's was just the best. So.
And it was kind of funny because back in the day, I used to collect the MEGO figures, right? The characters with the cloth
I
clothing and
did
stuff.
too.
And that stuff was dope too. But then you also know the leg is always going to break. It's either on the left leg or the right leg, but one of those legs are always kind of snapped in the same place. And, the costume could get kind of ruined, or if it was like a decal like Batman's chest symbols, it would fall off and things like that. But I still love those toys and I would collect them. But G.I. Joe had the visuals right and it was durable. So like you said, you could play, you could blow them up, you could fall and whatever, you know.
Take them apart,
Exactly,
put this
exactly.
leg on him, put
Right,
these arms.
right. And they would
I stayed
survive.
with a little screwdriver.
Right. You got the little rubber band to hold the legs in. So, or you can make them break dance by twisting them up and then sitting them down, let them unspin. They doing like break dance moves.
And they were the perfect size too.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. So I always thought that was kind of dope. So G.I. Joe did kind of change the game with the articulation, which I know you're a fan of because you're like a master poser. That's the first time I've ever seen anybody kind of really getting into like articulation and posing and stuff. So
Yeah.
that was very impressive as well. So how'd you kind of get into your posing and stuff like that?
I think posing came like that took it to another level for me was when Tascara, the people that make Transformers and
Yeah,
stuff like
Takara.
that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I think it was like in 2005, man. I had stumbled into this comic book store and they had these Microman figures. And it was Microman actually. And it reminded me of the Micronaut figures from back in the day, with the colors and the see-through them and all that.
Right,
And I'm
right.
like, man, but these look a little different. Like, and basically they were the new design type of, figures from back in the day. Like they were now with 32 points of articulation, and that meant basically you can do any type of human pose possible with these figures. And so I grabbed a few of them. They were like probably $8, about this big, you know what I mean? And then, they about $8. And I grabbed a few and I brought them home. And I think that's when the visions of posing, like, really started opening up for me, trying to do any type of crazy pose possible. You had a whole bunch of different hands that the figure came. So you could have the fist or you
Right,
could
right.
have the action hand and stuff like that. And I think from there, that's when I just was like, you know what? The posing, it's a passion now. You know what I mean? It's like, it's almost like, therapy because, you can sit there for hours trying to perfect any type of pose that you want your figure to do. And they had like the little, dynamic type stand where you can stand them up on and stuff like that. So, I think that's what took it off for me for like doing the crazy poses and stuff like that, because of those figures and being 32 points of articulation. That's really important because, Joe's had like, I don't know the actual articulation points, but they had some articulation, but not like these 32 points. They didn't have 32 points. So,
That's dope. Okay. So what would you say would be your philosophy about collecting? Like, it could be like, it's all about being able to pose, or it's all about how true it is to the actual character that they are based on, or would you say about just having fun, or,
I think collecting, man, like, to me, like, I think that what really done it for me and took it to another level was, when I started getting into 1/6 figures. And 1/6 figures, it took it back to the Amigo days. You know what I mean? Because I remember, I love those figures, like you said, with the costumes and stuff like that.
Right.
And to be able to do 32 points of articulation. That was like you can do any type of pose with those type of figures. And then seeing like Hot Toys come out, and that's what kind of put me on a whole nother like level of like, all right, you know what? I'm going to be, this adult collector. And, I think, I enjoy collecting because, it was, we all got things that we do in life, where it comes to working and, you got your families and stuff like that. But, we all need our little me time. You know what I mean? And,
True.
And, just like, I think Tony Stark said everybody should have a hobby. You know what I mean? And other people say that, not just him. Like, hobbies are good. So I think, that was one thing where I realized when I was collecting the 1/6 figures, and I was like, because to be honest, man, I never really thought about giving it up ever. I just always thought that, if anything, fall back. You know what I mean? And not do it as much, you know what I mean? And because it's something that I enjoy doing, and it's a hobby, like why would I ever want to kill my hobby? So it's all about having that hobby, man, and enjoying your hobby, you know what I mean? So
right. So that's very similar to kind of my path with it all as well. And I was kind of wondering, how did you navigate with it? Because it's funny because it kind of conflicts, with being like a grown person, a grown man, grown black man, adult, quote unquote, adult. And so how did you reconcile with that? How did you balance that out? Because it's funny how, even though you're grown, it could be a peer pressure kind of thing where, like, when I got older, like, I never stopped watching cartoons. I still watch cartoons. I almost prefer cartoons than regular TV. And, I will say it could be like a little interesting, especially in the beginning before I kind of found my way of just being comfortable with it. But I remember, a dope cartoon coming out at the theaters, and I don't have no kids, and I'm walking up into a theater watching a kids movie, or walking around the toy department in Target or Toys R Us, and they're looking like, who you buying this for? That was kind of touchy back in the day before before the world kind of caught up, and it was like acceptable. But I remember, if you're going into a kids movie or going to a toy section with no kid with you, it's kind of like, what's over here that you need? The fear's that way.
Yeah, I mean, I used to always go in Toys R Us buying the Spawn figures, because Toys R Us was like a big supplier for Spawn figures. Yeah. And again, I used to ask the people that worked there, because one thing Todd McFarlane did was have variants, and I would be like, want to try to get there on their delivery days. So, but I think at one time, you just realize, like, you know what, this is what it is, and this is what it's going to be. Like, people at the end of the day might think anyway, well, he must be buying that for his kids. You know what I mean? So, I never really worried about going into stores. Yeah. But as, I think you were saying, like, as far as coming to grips in terms of what it is, it's hard, man. I got to be honest. Like, it's still kind of hard being a collector and trying to do other things, because I kind of consider myself hardcore.
Yeah.
And this is real talk. Like we always talk, and I still be like trying to manage, everyday life, and still trying to be that collector, because the sad part about collecting too, man, is, it could be addicting, and that's the real talk part about it all. It could be addicting, and some people might even lose their marriages. You know what I mean? I've heard collectors, say they got into it with their wives or their husbands or whatever. And and me myself, man, like, I gotta admit, man, like, collecting has really taken over, like, I think a half of my life, where it's like, this is what I'm gonna be. And I would like to change one day, but it's always that figure where it's like, oh man, not this, or oh man, like, because there's other things I want to do. And I think, if I'm honest with you right now, collecting it's been like a hindrance. It's been like, because it kind of messes you up on things that, if you don't got a grip on it, you always say, all right, well, I want to do this, but then like, how can you do this if you're always spending money on collectibles?
It is true. And it's funny because I didn't notice, so when I would watch you guys do the group thing, and then eventually I was part of the group thing as well, it was interesting to see how it did hit against a whole bunch of other things. And I never really thought of it like that, but it did, as much as it brought us together and gave us joy and stuff, it did cause issues, and for many. And I also kind of went through that for a minute, where I just felt like I had to have everything. I was going to lose out if I didn't. And the prices were high in the first place, but then I kind of found peace with it. And I'm like, okay, well, it's not that bad considering all that I'm getting, the way they look, the articulation, the detail. It's art, And me being an artist, I kind of justified it. And then the prices kept going higher and higher, and the turnaround for figures from at least, one a year or a couple a year, every month there was something that was coming out.
It's like an expense.
Right. And they're damn near car payments that you can't drive or rent, and you can't live in it, It's like, like that damn Batmobile, the 89 Batmobile, which I, own, thinking back on it, it's ridiculous. Did I want it? Yes, I want it. I love that thing. But when you think about it, I'm like, you can't live in it. And I don't know. It is a weird thing. It is a weird thing. That's something I definitely didn't see coming, or being an issue like it possibly could. But it was a trip to see kind of like the negative stuff that kind of came from it, and find that balance.
And I'm still like, I guess I feel like I'm in a hole, because it's still a lot of things I want to do.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I'm finally, like, I'm getting my credit together in life, you know what I mean? I'm finally almost in the 800s with my credit, and I'm paying my bills and stuff like that. But that's what I make sure I'm paying my bills. But then it's the other bill, which is collectibles. You know what I mean? And
that stranger knocking at night. Knock. That's that Miles Morales, Into the Spider-Verse figure coming out. Only $300. Only $300. If you get a custom, it's gonna be at least $1,000. It's $300 is a good deal. Go ahead.
Exactly, man.
Get 2 hand sculpts.
And like, even now, like, one of the customizers I told you about, the guy Jazz Inc.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I got really, like, got a pocket with him, like, where it's like I wanted almost everything he made. Right. And even now I still do. And I'm fighting it. I'm really fighting it, Jay. I'm like,
I know.
He's making the 89 Batwing, and he wants $2,000 for it.
Wow.
And to me, it's priceless. I mean, if I had it, he would get it.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it's like, I don't have it like that. Even though I'm trying to figure out ways of, like, maybe if I just, cancel this, and then can't. But then I don't even got the space for this stuff. Like,
right.
Where I'm living at now, half of my collectibles is in the basement, which is in storage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then the other half of my collectibles is in closets. You see what I'm saying? Because, you know, I told you guys, and one reason why I went out way back in the day, because I was like, all right, you know, I'm trying to buy a house, you know, and the goal is to have a house and then build that ultimate collectible room.
Yeah.
Which I still, it's been like 6 years now, and I still ain't never get on that plan. So, you know, where's my collectibles? They're just sitting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're just sitting because I feel like I'm the type of collector where I gotta have a specific designated area for that. You know what I mean? Like I'm not the type to have it under my arms, under my pillow, sleeping on a figure. And, you know, like I gotta have a designated place. You know, some collectors don't care. You come in their house, bang, right in your face. But not me, because it's personal to me and it's my little own private hobby that I enjoy. And if I want to share it with you, I'll share it with you in my way. You know what I mean? So
respect.
So, but like I said, like some of my stuff has never really been displayed and it's just sitting. So that's when I gotta realize and be like, you know what? It's all right to be a collector, but you know, you gotta just say no. You know what I mean? You gotta just say no to some of these things and try to get stuff done, because look at your other stuff. I end up selling like half of my stuff, you know what I mean? Because, you know, they're just sitting there and I'm like realizing like, you know what? I bought this and it's just sitting there. So, you know, and I need money for other things. I need money to buy other figures. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, you constantly feeding the beast. You know what I mean? You constantly feed the beast. So I might have to sell some stuff, and you know what I mean? And like I said, at the end of the day, man, I'm still trying to put a grip on it. And I'm still trying to figure out a way where I can kind of do it modestly and be able to do other things that I need to do in life, if you know what I mean. So
I do. I think the only thing that kind of slowed me down is just, like you said, just start running out of space. And what started off was, it was so funny, is the only reason why I really started was because I saw that Hot Toys was doing Black characters without looking like a joke. You know what I mean? Like the skin wasn't too dark, or the eyes wasn't big, or lips painted red and stuff like that. Like a lot of toys, kind of their interpretation of Black people in general is kind of skewed, and then the toys would kind of be the same. And I think I saw maybe Hot Toys did I think it was the movie was called The Spirit, and they did the Samuel Jackson character, the octopus. And I saw that. I was like, wait, what? I'm like, I'll just get all the Black characters. And then eventually they had like Blade. I'm like, okay, I'll just stick to the Black characters. And they had Michael Jackson. Okay, I'll stick to the Black characters. And then they said 89 Batman. I was like, what? I saw the Crow. I was like, what? You know, so it's just like, so what was supposed to be like just a nice, tight collection of well done Black characters, done well and looked like somebody really cared and respected the characters, turned into this, you know, Toys R Us in my third room, you know? And I still kind of fight with what I'm going to do, because part of me is kind of like, you know, I do have too much, because I know I was feeling the ways about it for a while where I just wanted to have everything, you know? And it's funny how that goes, because sometimes you get addicted to the buying and acquiring more so being addicted to just the feeling that you get of actually experiencing what you have. And that could be as far as like family or anything else. But those figures, like I said, I think when I was getting them one at a time, and I had time to really take them out and pose them and check out the quality and how they were done, I got more out of it than me just buying them and then just stacking them. Some of those I haven't even opened up before, and I got like a lot of figures, not including the Masterpiece Transformer stuff, not to mention
your side other things you collect.
Right. Like they reissued those MEGOs. A different company did MEGOs again, but they did them exactly like the old ones were. So I kind of got all those. I got, they brought back out and they improved on Masters of the Universe. I got like all those. So it's just like all my childhood stuff that I wanted back in the day that I still have the originals, but they do like new interpretations of those characters. I just start kind of buying and collecting. And I'm like, I don't know. And it's funny because I don't want to get rid of them either, but then I need to stop buying them as well. So it is a funny thing. But I have slowed down a lot from buying, just knowing like, hey, logically, where I'm going to put it. Logically, what are you going to give up to get it? And if my answer is going to be nothing, then I got to, you know, I fight with just making sure that I do well. So the last few Hot Toys figures I have bought, it was, you know, I went back to my original plan of like black characters, and I got Shuri from Black Panther, and Black Panther's father. So those are the most recent ones I've gotten. And even
you
though
didn't get what's the name?
You know, I'm waiting for the street clothes Killmonger with the blue and the you know, with the hair to the side.
You said, I remember you saying that too. He was like, "Nah, I'm gonna wait for the other one." Right. I remember you saying that now. Yeah.
Right. But I will say that I kind of called it back in the day when because not that you got on me about it, but people did get on me when we would kind of do our little post talking about figures and stuff coming out, and I'm like, I'm not getting it because I'm realizing that I'm gonna have 3 Thors, I'm gonna have 12 Iron Mans, because before it'd be like if they made it once, they may not go back to it. That might just be it. Like people are still waiting for a new version of Blade. Like they never redid that one. I'm surprised, but they never redid Blade. So certain figures they just never went back and did. So I remember just kind of being like, I can't buy everything that comes out. I'm gonna have to wait and see, because more movies are coming out, and every time they come out, they're doing a slightly different change, but it's the same character. I'm like, I gotta quit chasing this. I'm gonna have to wait for them to come out, and then just pick one, because I don't need 30 versions of the same character. So that's what kind of shook me out of my trance. Was just like, I got 3 Thors, and I didn't even like the first Thor movie.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think me myself, what kind of makes me still like, all right, I'll keep buying, because my theory was too, at the worst case scenario, I can always sell them. You know what I mean? and like that's even like one of the ones that I had got recently was the one of the ones Hulkbuster. You know,
you got it?
Well, not the latest second version, but but not you know the 2.0 version. But I got the the one back when it first came out.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, I was debating like, should I get this thing? And I got on the wait list, and I was like, if it really happens for me, I'll get on the wait list. And if I should get it, I get it, and I'll deal with it. So got on a wait list, and I think my wait list went through like after like a couple weeks or something like that.
Wow.
Because I usually wait. Most of my figures when I get them, I'll usually wait like till they get released in Hong Kong. Then I'll hurry up like, oh, I got a pre-order, because that's the worst with pre-ordering. You got to give up that money and all that type of stuff. And
right.
And I'll I usually try to wait to see if it looks good. And when it comes out in Hong Kong and it looks good, and I'll be like, all right, I'm gonna pre-order that. It looks good.
Right.
So that's kind of what I did for the Hulkbuster.
Mm-hmm.
And I got it, man. And then I started seeing like people was like offering like, retail for like $8.99 or something. You know what I mean? And
wow.
Yeah, $899 for the retail, or $849, something like that.
Yeah.
But then like after, one thing about certain figures, when they sell out, collectors are almost willing to do anything to get certain ones anyway. Especially if it sell out like that. You know what I mean? And that thing sold out. Like I said, it never really, you never could buy it. Like if you didn't pre-order it,
you didn't get
from Hot Toys, you didn't get it, basically. Right. So, and I'm still kicking myself for the diecast Mark V. I didn't pre-order it, and I missed out on it. You know what I mean? I was like, you know what? I won't do that ever again. But anyway, like I was saying with the Hulkbuster, so I pre-ordered it, and I mean, if waitlisted clear, got it at home, and then I was just sitting on it, and then I started seeing it going up in mad money, man, and I was like, I ain't even gonna probably display this thing. You know what I mean? I got it for just in case when I ever do get that collectible room. Right. So I put it up on the 1/6 sell trade or whatever, buy, sell, and trade or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I think I put it up there for like, I think it was like $1,600. Damn near double. $1,600. People laugh at me like, ha, you crazy. You're not going to get that type of money.
Oh, yes, you will.
I say, oh, you think so? All right, you think not? Okay. So I was like, watch this. I was like, watch when I put it on eBay. So I put that thing on eBay. I put it up more than what I wanted on there. I put it up for $1,700.
Yeah.
Why a week later, somebody bought it like that, $1,700.
I bet.
$1,700 for the Hulkbuster. So that was my motto with especially Iron Man figures. Like at the end of the day, if I don't want them, I can always sell them, especially if I don't open them. Because you know that plays a part too when it's pristine and not open. You know what I mean? So
people be tripping off the cardboard sleeves.
Oh yeah, I know.
The packing sleeve
with the box, with the packing box look like, you know. So
right.
And this latest one that's coming out, I'm probably gonna do the same thing because I'm not gonna sit there and lie to you. Sometimes I like to make a couple dollars off of a figure, you know, and I'll flip it or whatever.
There's nothing wrong with it, man. You done invested more than your fair share. So
exactly, and I think at the end of the day, if you're willing to pay the price for it, that aftermarket price, then you know, so be it. I never knock nobody that, oh, I want $1,000 for this Iron Man figure, even though they paid $400.
Right.
If that's what they feel like their value is,
right.
You know what I mean? Like now, there is a sad part when people like, I guess like, you know, you got Hong Kong buyers who will buy up all of them.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Scalpers, they used to call it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Scalpers and try to just flip them and sell them for like triple the price or whatever. Now that's the sad part of this hobby, but again, it's a business and the supply and demand. You know what I mean? And that's why, you know, at the end of the day, especially now, I say pre-order stuff. You know, because companies are ordering less. You know what I mean? Because of whatever the economy or you know what I mean, and they don't want to get stuck with a whole big stock. Right. You know what I mean? Like Big Bad still got figures that was out 5 years, 6 years ago. You know what I mean?
I noticed. I was checking.
And they finally had to kind of liquidate by like, all right, well, look, if you buy this figure, we'll give you $300 back, you know, like in credit, you know, and that's because I don't know if you know this, but I heard that Sideshow makes these third-party companies like Big Bad, you know, like, no, you can't sell it on sale. You can't do a sell. Like you got to, I don't know. Somebody told me a long time ago they do that because, you know, you can't, like because they don't want to lose money. As far as in like if you're selling it for like half price because you lost, you know, you want to get rid of it, it looks bad on them or something like that. So
you know what's funny about that is that they started that mess. They started with that spooktacular thing in October, and they would mess up the prices. Like I almost felt bad for all the stuff I bought throughout the year and started just waiting for those sales for spooktacular because the price was like 30% off. 40% off and all that kind of stuff.
But they didn't want other companies to do it though, like Big Bad. I couldn't understand that. Like, and they threatened not to sell to these companies like Big Bad Toy Store if you're going to try to knock your price. So I guess Big Bad had to come with another way, and that was their way of like, all right, we'll give you store credit, you know, instead of them just deliberately saying this is half price because they're trying to get rid of it. You know what I mean?
Because I remember I stocked up on a lot of stuff during those like I said, I think it's called Spooktacular specials.
Yeah, it's not good no more though. You notice they kind of slowed down on that themselves though.
But they needed to. They needed to because really they were messing with the perceived value. I will tell you, I felt a little ways about spending full price for figures after knowing that they could really sell them for that price. Yeah, like if you normally pay like, I'll be nice and just say $300 for a figure, and on you know one day of the month, one day in October they sell it for you know $150.
$150.
I don't want to pay more than $150 ever.
Yeah, I know.
I started feeling a little funny about it.
I think the last time, if I'm not mistaken, was when the best Spooktacular was. You might remember this too. It was when they had like that's when the DX14, you know, the meme Joker. Mm-hmm. That was out, the Ed 209. Now that Ed 209,
that's the stuff I got too.
Yeah, the Ed 209 was like $450 retail, but Spooktacular, I think I got it for like $250.
I remember.
You know what I mean? Yeah. The DX meme Joker, I got it for like $100.
Me too. And it's funny because I wouldn't have bought that if it wasn't for that sale. Like I got like Bruce Banner. He was just Bruce Banner in his like jacket. You know, I wouldn't have spent no $300 on a Bruce Banner. But for Spooktacular for $100, I'll take a Bruce to put next to my Hulk. So,
exactly, but they stopped that though because, like you said, I guess they had to because you know they're going to try to sell these crazy prices, but then come down and sell them for nothing.
Yeah, you start feeling the ways about it. So it's messing with perceived value, and that's when you do that, then it's hard to build it back up. But But yeah, but it is funny that they want to cut somebody else off from doing that when they did that mess. But I think they kind of shot themselves in the foot. We benefited from it, but in the long run, I think they shot themselves in the foot with pricing with that, because it really kind of made me aware of what they really could sell it for, you know, or at least be more fair, somewhere in the middle of it. But so what do you think? Okay, since we kind of ended with the 1/6 scale collectibles and stuff like that. Well, first I'll ask you this real quick. What did you so I thought it was kind of dope that, you know, instead of just like the mainstream stuff, you always found outside 1/6 scale figures from different companies. You know, it'd be like Asian inspired figures and stuff like that. What made you kind of step left? Because you always were kind of up on that kind of stuff. You always kind of went outside the box. Like, you still were collecting 1/6 stuff, but when everybody's going down and just getting more Iron Man, you know, you step to the side and start collecting and finding other companies and bringing it to attention to people.
Oh yeah, that was 3A. Remember 3A? That was one of the companies. Yeah, 3A. I was Ashley Wood figures.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think that was one of the things I stepped to the side where people, even back in the day,
right?
It was like, what the hell is
this?
They
didn't get it.
They still did. People would like hate on me, like, oh man, I don't want to see this crap.
but you're an artist though. You probably saw it. You probably saw it for what it was, because it was like some trash can with feet. Some of that stuff. It was like a Pepsi can with elbows.
It was, man, and or just.
But you sold me on it though, because you would do your review and you were talking about it. I'm like, that is art.
And that's what made me, because when I first seen them, I was like, what is this? Like I think I had the same opinion like a lot of people did, you know, and you know, I was like, they're dirty. Like, you get your hands messy by touching some of them, like. You know, like they're like, but then I think I saw a couple reviews on YouTube, and you know, I saw other people reviewing the stuff, and and I was like, you know what, like you said, it's art. It's another artist. Really is really art, because it's this guy Ashley Woods. You know, his designs on paper interpreted into a 1/6 figure form. Right. You know, and I think that's what made me appreciate it more, because, you know, I'm a fan of art, especially comic book type art and stuff like that.
Right.
And I think that's what got me on board, was stepping to the side and, you know, trying other figures and, you know, and you know, just being open to, you know, any other type of 1/6 figure, you know what I mean? Because of the whole artist aspect of that, you know, that artist who brought them out into, you know, that 1/6 form. So
yeah, you also sidestepped again, and you did some more, like I said, historic.
Oh yeah, them Asian figures,
dude, like if it's gold in them hills, you know, Morris is gonna find it. You know what I mean? Like you're the scout.
I think what made me jump into the historical figures, because of my childhood of watching them type of movies, historical type movies of, you know, Asian movies, like, you know, the kid with the golden arms, or, you know what I mean, the Bruce Lee figures, or, you know, or the what is it, the romancing of the three kingdoms, or I mean the 5 kingdoms, or whatever, you know, like. Yeah. You know, and to see those into a 1/6 figure form again, like, you know, that was just to see it interpreted into a 1/6 figure form with the detailing of armor, and, you know, and the sculpting of the, you know, the armor and the clothing, the materials that they use to, you know, pull out that, that character. It just made me had to have it, you know, maybe had to have it. And, you know, like I said, I'm a true 1/6 collector, man. So seeing somebody interpreted into a 1/6 form, that was beautiful, man. That was a beautiful thing, especially with even Hot Toys can recognize, you know, artists, you know, and remember they had the Hot Toys artist collection. Yeah. You know, it was like a special collection for artists that wanted to design a 1/6 figure, and one of those figures was, you know, the Samurai Predator. Yeah. You know what I mean? It was a concept figure, but, you know, Hot Toys, I can't remember the name of the artist, but he was a Japanese artist, and, you know, they let him just do his thing, like, you know what I mean, design, like, you know, his interpretation of what a predator should look like in a samurai form. Right. You know, and,
well, you know, so speaking to that, you are one of the first ones I noticed giving shout out to the sculptors. Like, what's her name, Yuli? Yuli?
Yeah.
Yeah, like you would give credit. See, man, yeah. So
Oh
you
yeah, that was.
and gave credit to artists that was behind the scenes. Like you were before your time with that for sure.
Yeah, I had to, man, because I think, even me making my channel, I always wanted to strive to be, a good channel where collectors can come to and, and everyone could be friendly and, because I think I had people be friendly to me. At first, with people I was watching, they might not really comment and they don't really say anything. And, but then, people that, I think when I started doing my own thing, they started commenting and, so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna be a different type of collector. I'm gonna reply to these comments. You know what I mean? I'm gonna reply to these people and, I'm gonna do different. I'm gonna give shout outs to, the people that designed the characters, you know what I mean? And, and let people know who did this, even though I might have not pronounced some of the names wrong, I might have, but I still was trying to get it out there, like, all right, this is by J.C. Hong, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
J.C.
exactly.
Hong was the, the guy behind this, even though Howard Chan, put this thing together, but J.C. Hong was the guy that did the, the scope or the painting, and Yuli did the sculpting. So that was one thing that I thought was important, was giving shout outs, because, we used to do it back in the day on the radio. Hey, can I get a shout out to such and such? Like, oh, you're gonna get a shout. So being on TV, or not TV, but YouTube, you know what I mean? Giving shout outs across the world, because you knew everybody was watching you across the world. You know what I mean? I just thought it gave my channel a little more extra specialness. That's not a word, but
I felt it, man, because like I said, you gave the Philly, the Philly vibe to your collecting.
And that was just natural. Like, that was just my Philly swag.
Even for your little mouth pick that you use, and you kind of like point out the details and stuff, and it was just funny. It was just very like like your buddy of yours just so happened to be talking, reviewing, and you cutting open the box, and and your cat and stuff. It was just like I said, as simple as it was, it had hella heart. And like I said, to the point where when I would sit there and watch you through my TV, my daughter was real young at the time. She actually thought that we were just talking back and forth. So for a kid to think that was like a personal conversation, that her dad was watching a person on TV and thinking that it was a back and forth conversation, says a lot about your presentation and your vibe and what you presented.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
That's a beautiful thing for sure. Yeah. So one last thing I'm gonna ask you before I let you go. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but what do you think is the state of collecting? We'll just talk about 1/6 since we're already talking about it. But what do you think? Well, one more other thing, real quick. Do you feel that there are more Black or / African American collectors now today than before, and maybe they were always there, but are being more upfront about it or more comfortable about it?
Yeah, I think they were always probably there, but now they're being more upfront about it. I think because I think especially I still don't see them as well. I was gonna say I don't see them as much on YouTube, but I'm not on YouTube as heavy like that, so I can't really say that. But I do see them more on the Facebook communities and stuff. I see a lot of guys like the other day I was complimenting this Black collector, because for some reason I don't know why I do this, but when I see somebody, I might tap on to see who they is. Like if I see somebody do like a great pose, like, man, who's that? I got to see that. Oh, this is a Black collector. Like, oh, okay. Or just anybody on Facebook sometimes, just, tap on to see who they are. You know what I mean? So
you have no problem giving folks props. That's always been your thing. No matter who it is, what it is, you have no problem giving credit where credit's due.
And I still do, man. Like I said, if it's on Facebook, I'll still give somebody a person like, oh man, this is a beautiful pose. You know what I mean? Great pose. I love it. I still, oh, this is awesome. Oh, I just still try to give credit where credit is due, because I mean, we got to stick together. We collectors, and you got to let people know out there, you got somebody watching and that enjoying what you're doing. You know what I mean? So, and that's, because some people might not get no comments at all, on their Facebook, in the groups, the different groups like 1/6 Society, or 16 Republic, you know, you might have somebody that had this thing sitting here, their post sitting there for like 9 hours or a couple days ago.
Yeah.
And if it looks good to me and I got to get credit where credit is due, I'm going to leave a comment like, oh, this is beautiful.
Right.
You know, so I mean, you know, but as far as in what you were saying about brothers and sisters, it's surprising. I think I seen my first 1/6 sister. You know what I mean? Like looking for Star Wars stuff.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And I'm looking, I see her, I'm like, wow, that's a sister. Like, I take it back. It's a couple, 2 sisters.
Okay.
You know, and I know back in the day we had one, which was the lady back in the day. But now, like I said, recently though, I seen the 2 sisters. One was a younger girl. She probably was in her like late 20s, early 30s. And then it was a sister around our age probably, you know, and she's heavy into collecting. Like, you know, I got to know her from the group, like just, you know, oh man, your collection. She shared her collection the other day and, you know, beautiful, like heavy collector. You know, like she's like, this is cause she had statues and, you know, this is a sister, brother. Like, this is a sister. And you're like, man, she must got money. You know what I mean? 'Cause, you know, she got all these collectibles and she had a specific room talking about she about to move it to another room. Like, I was just like, wow. So I was blown away. And like I said, I think it is a lot of brothers and sisters coming out, especially on the Facebook groups, you know what I mean? And, you know, they're out there, you know what I mean? And it's a beautiful thing. You know, I think it's a beautiful thing to see people that look just like you, that collect just as well. And you know what's funny, man?
What's that?
This is a small world. You know, one thing about the groups, you know, that I like about the 1/6 Republic buy and sell trade, you know, you meet people. And there's one guy, man, I sold to him a couple years ago. I remember the figure. I think it was Loki from, you know, one of the movies that, I can't remember the movie, but it might have been Dark Age Loki or something, you know, from Dark Age Thor or whatever, or Dark Age Thor, yeah. So the guy, I met up with him, sold him the figure, and come to find out where I moved to in Philly, I live across the street from this guy now. And I seen him one day. I was like, yo, your name, such. He's like, yeah, you sold a figure to me. Yeah, I'm like, damn, we live right across the street from each other, bro. You know, this is a brother. This is a brother. You know what I mean? He's like, oh, yeah. He's like, you got anything for sale? I was like, actually, I do. So he was like, all right, well, get with me. So, you know, small world, man. Another brother collecting.
Dude, like for real, man. You to me, you always been the ambassador, and to me, I'll always associate ambassador to you. Like I said, because you kind of invited everyone. Like I said, especially meant a lot to me just because, like I said, you look like me, and you know, just your personality and everything, and your strong collection and your ability to pose and all other kind of stuff. Just your appreciation, which I think is lost in a lot of things. A lot of people are more or less trying to brag or show off what they got versus, you know, actually sharing the love of the thing more so than this is what I got. So I always appreciate that about you.
Thank you, brother.
So one last thing is, what do you think the state of collecting is today? Well, 1/6 scale collecting. What do you think the state of it is today?
To be honest, Jay, I think even in this economy and how things is now, you know, with the coronavirus and, you know, people not working.
Yeah.
It still seems the same, man. Like it's not going anywhere. Like people still buying figures. I'm looking for this figure. Anybody got these figures for sale? And like, you know, like I'm like, wow, like, you know, one thing about this 1/6 hobby is just going to live on as long as they're going to produce the figures.
Right.
You know, it's going to live on. Like, you know, you got stuff like the latest thing I just seen today was they bought, I don't know if you followed the Mandalorian new show from, you know, on the Disney. Well, they got the speeder bike and the trooper, the speeder bike and the scout trooper, you know, that was from that show.
Wow.
And they're bringing out a lot of the figures from that show. So they got me. They got me, man. I'm getting that speeder bike and the scout. I even wanted, like, one of the guys from, what is it, Cool Collectibles, Kyle, Cool Collectibles. You know, you might see him on Facebook. He said today, like, he posted the pictures of it. He's like, well, I'm going to wait for, you know, the Return of the Jedi version. You know, and he said he's not, you know, and I feel that, you know what I mean? So we got to be selective. But again, you see collectors still You know, they gonna be out there. He's waiting for this version. Somebody's waiting over here for this. You know, you're waiting for the that Pacific, Killmonger. You know what I mean? So it ain't going nowhere. It's always, if one thing I can see though is prices are probably gonna go up. You know, like because they keep going up, but I think they kind of stayed at a level right now where they're at that 250 mark.
Right.
You know what I mean, but they're trying to be slick.
Yeah.
And be like, all right, we'll get the deluxe version, and you gotta pay $285. You know what I mean? So
that's the one everybody wants too.
Yeah. So I mean, like or $300, for the deluxe version. So whereas back in the day, that deluxe was just one figure. You only still pay $200 for it. But but as far as in the hobby, it's not going anywhere. I think it's still gonna be here to stay.
I agree, man.
Yeah, I think it's not going. As long as they keep producing them 1/6 figures. And you know what's crazy now? It ain't just Hot Toys now. You got other companies producing, like Ace Toys making the Power Rangers.
Right.
You got this company over here making X-Men figures. Like these companies is coming out of the woodwork. Like, oh, they're not going to make it. We'll make it because we know what you collectors want.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. Like, it ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, but what's funny, as good as those new like third-party companies are, it's still not Hot Toys.
Oh yeah, I agree. Of course,
it's so funny because I tried to slip in a couple characters. I think it was maybe Judge Dredd, and it was like Ethan something from Mission Impossible figure. It was a Tom Cruise like from Mission Impossible figure. I threw in my collection, and my lady walked by. She's like, those are cool, but they're not Hot Toys. So even she knew, like, okay, yeah, those are nice, but it's not.
I mean, even with the Miles Morales, like somebody did a version before Hot Toys.
I know, and I was if that price was a little bit more reasonable for what I was willing to pay at the time, I would have jumped on that. But I'm so glad that I didn't because man,
it's not Hot Toys, and now Hot Toys got one.
With all the clothes, all the heads, you know what? I hope they sell an extra body. They probably won't because they don't do that anymore. But I hope that they sell an extra body so you can have both of them at the same time versus having to switch them out and everything.
Yeah.
But I am that only ones that's in my cart right now that I'm almost about to push my finger on the button for is Mysterio, because I think that's a great design and I think it'd be cool. And they're only gonna do Mysterio probably once. And from the last Spider-Man movie, and that Miles Morales from Into the Spider-Verse. Those are the two. I want other ones too, but those are the two that I think I'm just gonna be like, I'll take the hit for these, and then just kind of dip back out again.
Okay.
Figure out what I'm gonna do.
I'm not even gonna tell you what I got in my cart.
I know.
Man, I don't know how I'm gonna do it. Like, I feel like, all right, you know what? After this summer, I'm gonna get it again. Like, like I said, I got the Jazz Ink dioramas coming. He's built in the Batmobile, from the Justice League. I got that on pre-order.
Man, I want the 66 Batmobile.
He got that. He's got that. He's making that. So I'm not getting that though. I'm sticking with just the Justice Mobile, especially because I sold the figures. You know what I mean?
Oh.
I sold because I was waiting for Hot Toys to make the Batmobile, and I was like, they're not gonna make this. So I was like, you know what? I sold them or whatever. But I'm not worried about it. But at the end of the day, though, I'm getting the Justice Mobile. He got the Millennium Falcon cockpit. Yeah, that Hot Toys is supposed to make. This guy is like a god of designing 1/6 dioramas. So, and I got a whole bunch of stuff coming from him still. Like, and then I got figures that's on pre-order. If I tell you my pre-order list right now that I'm paying off of, I got the Man of Steel, or not Man of Steel, Superman from Justice League.
Really?
I got him on pre-order. Oh. The War Machine, I got him on pre-order that I'm paying off. The one from is it Infinity War? Infinity War, right?
Is it Infinity War or Endgame, where he's all stacked up real big?
No, well, that's the Infinity War first version. So Endgame is the real big blue one. Like, that's right. I'm talking about the one that's already out with the gray camo. I got him on pre-order that I'm paying off. Mm-hmm. What else am I paying off right now? I got 2 Imperial Guards for my, Palpatine, Palpatine from Star Wars. Mm-hmm. I got 2 Imperial Guards that I'm paying off. And that's really it. Like, once I pay those off, but then stuff gonna follow. Like I'm getting Hulkbuster.
Yeah.
What else? I got to get that Punisher War Machine from Final
dope.
Future. It does, and I was waiting on that. I didn't even pre-order that until I seen it, and I'm like, that's different. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's different.
That's up your alley.
It's die cast, and again, like I don't really open nothing anymore until like I don't really. It's very rare I open up stuff. I do, but it's rare. Like now when I get stuff in the mail, it's just going right to the closets or wherever I'm putting in my storage. Yeah. Because I'm like, you know what? Just in case I need to sell it or
change your mind.
Or when I get that final dream collectible room, then I'll crack it open. You know what I mean? So, but it's always like just in case if I want to sell it. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, but yeah, I don't really open that no more. I just straight keep it in the box. You know what I mean? And you know, and that's that. So.
Well, Morris/Moogie215, man, like I said, once again, I appreciate you. I appreciate your time.
Thanks, brother.
I appreciate your, you know, your introduction, helping me kind of get into the 1/6 collectible game.
Man, that's awesome. I'm happy that I had an effect.
Yeah, for sure, man. More than you probably will ever know or will accept. But yeah, you're dope. And coming from me and the community too, man, I hope that you come back, like, you know, it could be on your terms the way you want to do it or whatnot, but I do miss your videos and I miss that excitement, and I hope that things will kind of work out where with time or whatever, you know, because sometimes you got to be in the zone to do stuff. It's like I'm an artist, but it's not like, you know, draw now, paint now. You know, sometimes you got to be in that mood to really give it your all. You don't want to phone it in because, you know, that's kind of, you know, making something that you love work. You really just want to, you know, give because you want to give. So if you get that feeling back, or, you know, even if it's every once in a while, you know, we're waiting to, you know, hear that intro.
Yeah, and I have thought about it. You know, it just hasn't come yet. But I have thought, I think I might do a video today. And, you know, it comes to me and I'm like, I'll be like, nah, like, you know, and it comes from time to time. Like, you know, I'll be sitting there, especially this quarantine time. Like,
right.
You know, I'm at work now, but then when I go home, I'm home. Like, I'm not riding anywhere going, you know. So when I get home, I'll be like, should I do a video? And I'm like, nah, you know, I'm not going, not right now. So.
But when you're ready, then we'll be ready too, waiting for you. But like I said,
thanks, brother.
Just as a good person, man, I appreciate you, and I appreciate the group in the first place for being able to meet folks like yourself and to make me not feel so awkward about, you know, collecting, me not feeling like I'm alone, and that there are good people in different places out there. And so it's just sometimes it's just a matter of having that common thread that brings you together. So if anything, you know, while I was collecting, you know, figures, I was collecting friends and stuff and relationships, which I greatly appreciate.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah, man. So I appreciate you. Thank you again so much, and enjoy the rest of your day. And I'm looking forward to, you know, talking to you again.
All right, brother. Looking forward to it. Great. This is the podcast, right?
That's right.
All right. So yeah, looking forward to hearing it and checking out and do more in the future. It was great chatting with you, bro.
You too. Always, man. You take care, be safe, and peace.
Peace.
Nobody does it like you.
Later, bro.
Later.